So, hello everybody. We're starting a new place in Mitzvah Hashem. We're going to go in much more depth and then continually learning Dvar Malchus, which is our life, like Rebbe says. And let's start out with a nice niggin. We're here in Tzvas, here in Kodesh, special. This is the Rebbe city. Rebbe made Tzvas. He was one of the people are very, very special here. Right now I'm in the main shul in the near Shikun Chabad in Canaan, and people davening. So Rebbe Yitzchak, and I have a Malevi, we have a Kohen, we need to get a Yisrael now to have a full crew. I have here, we have here our good friend, Dvar, Cats. So then we're going to start, we're going to be starting together. He's going to be helping me. So we'll be starting with classes and do more stuff to follow the Rebbe's directive to bring Gula Shlema right away. Okay, so let's start off with the niggin. Yechi Adonenu Mareinu Baraveinu Melech HaMoshiach Li'elam Vo Ed Yechi Adonenu Mareinu Baraveinu Melech HaMoshiach Li'elam Vo Yechi Yechi Diddy ya 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 ay ya ya ay ya ya ay ya 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 Diddy ya 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 ya. Okay, so the Rebbe said basically, as a story I've said many times, but it's very apropos and it's a very important story to know. That I spent about a year learning with Yisrael all time, maybe a little bit more, in 1991, in 1992, and a very special chassid from the Rebbe. The Rebbe would, he was one of the 10 chassidim I heard the Rebbe Shalach Manas to. He was a chassid from the Friedecker, a very, very special man. And one of his jobs was, the Rebbe, you have to understand, the Rebbe Moshiach is totally unbelievable who he is and what he is. He entrusted this man with the job that he should translate things in Chassidus into English, and then the Rebbe would review it, and then it would be published to the world. Shul over here. So he was teaching us. Now, one of the contrasim that I have online that we've done is Nikdash Babel, talking about how 770 the base of Mikdash, many, many amazing things. He was teaching this to us. And when he was teaching this to us, he was in amazement, because when you learn that this kuntras that the Rebbe put out, this pamphlet on the third base of Mikdash, and how the base of Mikdash in the Gullus is 770, and the third base of Mikdash is there. He says, like we say in the holy book Yaakov Shemuni, he says that that the Moshiach will go on the roof of the base of Mikdash, the holy temple, and he will announce to all the people of the world, the time of redemption has come. And the Rebbe's explaining the Sikha in 1991, and he says this is not talking about the third base of Mikdash, the third holy temple. It's going to be revealed any minute in the holy city of Jerusalem. He says it's not time, because you won't need an announcement at that time. And now we know. I mean, now at that time it wasn't cell phones. It was just starting with all the things, connectivity. Like you have it was a big thing. Now it's like nothing. So he says that it's talking about the third base of Mikdash, the holy temple that's in Gullus, which is 770, and many, many things he talked about. There's many, many different things. So what am I bringing this up for? Because he said 18 months before he had translated. There's a sefer called Hatami where it talks about how the city Lubavitch was the main city in Russia, where the Lubavitcher, the Chassidim come from, and many of the Rebbe's, that was their main center. That it says, he says Lubavitch is Jerusalem. Until you get to the Rebbe's room, different levels, that's the Holy of Holies, the Kodesh Kadoshim. And the Rebbe circled this and said the world's not ready for this. A year and a half later, the Rebbe tells the world how 770, the third base of Mikdash, is found there. Moshiach is going to stand on the roof of on 770. So it's a very, very amazing thing. So what does that have to do with what we're doing now? So I always knew that what's it mean that we're more ready? We're ready to receive everything. We're ready to receive much more godliness. We're ready to understand it, to live and be a part of it, than we were before. So about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I learned, hopefully every year, I don't do it all the time, but I try and go through the Dvar Malchus. Last year the Rebbe spoke on that period. And so I was looking through, and it was explaining over there, on big kids there, that the Rebbe's talking about. He says the most important thing to learn, he says over there, is the Iker, the most essential thing to learn we have to do. All the teachings, everything that's brought down, the Rebbe talks about different levels and this and that. We all have to see how this has to do with the final redemption, the complete and final redemption, and true redemption. And then the Rebbe says this is not only the one thing, it's the most important thing to do now. And then you look down in a footnote, and the Rebbe says from Chuf Ches Nissan, 28 Nissan on. So this is what I'm going to try and do. I already have a lot of classes, Baruch Hashem, in different parts. We're going to start now. Actually, we're going to start one Sikha before. This is the Chuf of Nissan, where Rebbe talks about the miracles that we saw when he was there at the war with Saddam Hussein. So, we're in Vayikra, Sefer Vayikra. We're talking about from the talks of the night, entering in the 4th day of the week, Parshas Shmini, the 26th of Nissan. So this is the book that we're using. You can get this online, or you can go to livingmessiah.com, and then you can order it there. Very good. He also has a Mitzvah Hashem, and this should be online also. You can follow in English. Anyway, so he's going to help me. Yeah, this is the 26th of Nissan, 5751. Okay. This was a general private audience for the guests. May they live. The Rebbe used to, in the later years, used to have, when I became religious, I had private audiences, one-on-one. But in the early 80s, that was in the 70s, in the early 80s, the Rebbe started generally Yechidus. This he had a general Yechid that was like for certain people were invited, maybe people getting married. I don't know exactly the situation here. Anyways, being number one, being presently near the closing of the month of the redemption of the Nissan, the month of redemption, which its general and central content of the Pesach holiday, you have the Yom Tov of Passover, is the time of redemption, of our freedom, the time of our Zman Cheruseinu. That we thank Hashem for the miracles and the wonders that He showed us at the Exodus from Egypt. It is befitting to discuss the miracles and wonders which took place and are taking place this year in this present time. It's amazing, the Rebbe show you how we're living in Gula. The miraculous contact of Hashem upon the taking of the Jewish people out of servitude to freedom up to Cheros at the Exodus from Mitzrayim. It's not a one-time thing that took place only then at the leaving Mitzrayim. Out in every generation and every day, a person is obligated to see himself as if he left Mitzrayim today, to the extent that this expression itself, its actual action, is to the extent that this expresses itself in actual action at the Seder night. We remember this, we're coming right after Pesach here, that one must sit leaning in a manner of freedom. In other words, it's a real thing. I'm coming out to such a level that I have to, if I don't lean, when I'm eating my matzah, when I'm making I'm not showing I'm free. So at such a level is that not only I'm supposed to see that I'm free, but I'm supposed to see that in a physical way it shows up in Pesach, and as we say in the Pesach, the Haggadah, Passover Haggadah at the Seder night, Hashem redeemed not only our ancestors from Egypt, rather also we were redeemed with them, and to the degree that had Hashem not taken us out, our ancestors from Egypt, indeed us, our sons and our grandsons would be enslaved to Pharaoh and Mitzrayim. And therefore we are obligated to offer thanks and praise to the one that did for our ancestors and us all these miracles. And He took us out of servitude to freedom, from misery to joy, from servitude to redemption. Hashem changed us. He made us good, happy people. I mean, my parents aren't religious, but at the end of the years they were like in assistant living. And then, whatever, they ended up in a place that wasn't so good. You could see the difference. I got them in a place, a Jewish place, and you could see the people there. You could sit down, people are happy, people are smiling. There's a certain chayas. This chayas is what we have. You look around, Jews have a certain special chayas. That's who we are. We have this. That chayas is how we're connected to Hashem. Since we're connected to Hashem, we're free. We can be happy any place. So this is what we're talking about. Let's see how the Rebbe, we bring it in other ways. But it means freedom to be happy and serve Hashem, and not to be controlled by the world and the problems and all the nisyonos and all the difficulties. And I remember there's a story I heard by I think it was by the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. I think he was in the Warsaw Ghetto. Not too sure with all the details, but it was a really bad time. I'm pretty sure it was in the Warsaw Ghetto. They were coming after people, and at the worst of worst times. It came Yom Tov, or Shabbos, I forget what it was. Everything stopped. There was a light, and there he was. He was free. And every one of us can. How do we come free? By learning this stuff, what we're teaching and living it. The Rebbe gives us the tools. I've taught this to people who have been seriously depressed, didn't have a job, had large families, holy people. I sat and learned Nicola with a guy, totally changed him around. He's a wonderful person, but learning what we're learning now, it will totally change us and make us people, happy people, that we can do more good things to the world and be happier. Okay, so that's redemption. Furthermore, the redemption of Egypt opened the way, the channels, and gave the power for freedom and redemption in a miraculous way for the Jewish people throughout all the generations and times. The redemption of Egypt is beginning and includes all the redemptions, including the redemption including the redemption that is not redemption, literally redemption from Galus, rather that he will redeem us from the pains that come upon us, including also the true and complete redemption. So all things that were redeemed, that we're able to be happy and serve Hashem, that we're redeemed from the difficulties, all of this has to do when we're going after Egypt. But when Egypt to final redemption. Is there anything here? Okay. Including also the true and complete redemption, with no exile after it, about which it says, as of the days you left the land of Egypt, I will show you wonders, show them wonders. And ran in the flows. So therefore we say in the blessing, who redeemed, if you say this in the Agada, who redeemed us and redeemed our ancestors from Egypt, in the continuation and in the end of the passage beginning, therefore, mentioned above, so that Hashem, our God, will bring us to holidays with the building of your city, and we will thank you, and there will be a new song for redemption. So what do we say? This is, I'll say it over in Hebrew. It says over here, Asher Goleinu v'gol es avosenu miMitzrayim. And then it continues, and it says, Lefichak, therefore, Kain Hashem Elokeinu Yagienu, so Hashem will bring us to the Moedim holidays, the Binyan Irecha, and the building of your city. Noda Lecha will give thanks to you, a new song on our redemption. Song also is, what does it mean, a new song? One of the, I think the second to last Maimorim that came out from the Rebbe's, after the Rebbe got sick, they found a mimer. I think it's the second to last one. I think it was beginning. I forget but the Rebbe was talking about how everything there goes with song. Everything's singing to Hashem. The sun is singing. Everything is singing to Hashem. So you're gonna have a new song. The prayers were singing to Hashem. Everything sings to God. This is what you said. There'll be a new song when you're davening and you're looking in prayer. When you're looking in Pesukah de Zimran, all the different davening, we're talking about at that time there will be new. Everybody will sing to Hashem. All Atzmosai will sing to Hashem. It will be a new song, deeper than ever before. So this is what the Rebbe says. As we're saying over here, that The redemption from Egypt will include even this final redemption, and we're going to have a new song. From above, it is understood that being that in every generation a person is obligated to see himself as if he left Egypt, and the leaving of Egypt, so that we have to see, Hashem took me out of Egypt right now. And the leaving of Egypt is the beginning and includes all the redemptions of the Jewish people, that through thinking into the miracles and the wonders of the Exodus Mitzvah, we can see how they reflect in every generation and every day. In the present miracles and wonders through which Hashem saves us from their hands. This is also Hashem says. This is also from the Gada, from those who stand against us, and we have many people standing against us in every generation, including how this brings to the miracles and the wonders of the complete redemption, which are similar to the miracles of the Exodus of Egypt, as we shall explain. So the Rebbe is saying, when you understand what it means miracle, what it means going out from Egypt, how did it happen, what happened there, and then we will understand from there is related to understand what this means, and we'll be able to look into today. Right now is a very special time. The Rebbe said the Sikha, this was right before Saddam finally gave up everything. It was the end of that war. And that's all I was talking about, that miracle, the house of miracle. And right now, when I live in Tzfas, like they're throwing missiles. Pesach time, the first night, I heard 35 missiles they threw here. We didn't even see one of them. We're saying out there, throwing missiles, they do this, and miracles upon miracles happening in every place. So we need more miracles, and we shouldn't have any more Jews give them their life over. But it's miraculous stuff. And when you see this and see it, you got to understand when God gives you something special. If I bought a lottery and I got $1 billion in the lottery, I'd be singing and dancing. God gave me something special. God's giving us something special. We got to see it and get excited about it. That's what this is about. And that's what Dvar Malchus is about. And that's who by learning this stuff and for bringing and going over this and talking about it and living it, it's very special. Just today, this is very apropos. Actually, this morning, there was a person here, and he was learning. And so I was telling him that I heard one of the sichos from the Rebbe. I saw a video where a person went into the Rebbe. He was a young man, a bacher, his first yechidus, which is very important, very exciting. So he's thinking for a long time, what should I ask the Rebbe? You don't have time to sit and talk to the Rebbe. You just don't. You go in, you're there for like a minute or two. If you're there for 5 minutes, you get in trouble, but whatever it is, you don't have. So he's trying to figure out what to ask the Rebbe. So he's asked the Rebbe, how can I serve Hashem with joy, or how can I be happy? I don't remember the language. The Rebbe looked at him and says, I have no clue what you're talking to me about. I don't know what you're asking me. You have a divine soul that's part of God himself. How can you not be happy? So this is the redemption. This is redemption. We're talking about redemption. This is redemption. And the more we get into it, the happier we're going to be, and it's real. Okay, so let's finish. Let me stand against us. Oh, okay. So that was just happened this morning. I have other stories. I'll tell you another story, then we'll go on. That happened here. There's a guy, Mendel. There's a lot of guys, Mendel here. I think he's about 30 or so. He knows English a little bit. I schmooze with him a lot. Better Hebrew. I talk, I schmooze with people a lot. So I'm sitting here one day. I'm coming here. He comes up to me and he says, what's right? Eish mi pachad. I said, what? First, I didn't know why he's telling me this, but anyways. He says, Eish mi pachad. I said, why you pachad? What do you have pachad from? You shouldn't have any pachad. There's no reason to pachad. Hashem's here. He said, I pachad. So I tell him that, and then I tell him, my wife told me a story, amazing story from the Rebbe. When she was, her father used to, I think it was, her father was Rebbe Shvei Alabasham, one of the most unique, wonderful people that was in this world. Passed away recently. He was the head of the base in Israel. In Crown Heights. So anyway, so they used to go into the Rebbe a lot, the family, and she was a 6-year-old girl, a little girl, And she was afraid at night. She used to see things exactly, I forget, shadows or something at night. She had the blades, everything closed. She was afraid. She saw these, and she didn't tell anybody about it. She didn't tell her parents. Didn't tell one person about it. Remember, I'm telling this guy this story is afraid. So the Rebbe looks at her and says, "Where's the light?" So in the Rebbe's room, there's like 3 windows, 3 windows. And it's a night, so there's lights outside from the streets. So she points to one window, and she says, "There." The Rebbe says, "No." She points to the middle window. The Rebbe says, "No." The other window, "No." The Rebbe points up here. There was a light there at the time. She says, from then on, she was never afraid again. It just went away. So I'm telling this guy, for bringing this guy, he looks at me, it went away. So I'm saying this is the idea of going out from Egypt, and going out from our limitations. And Mitzvah Hashem, we can do it with each other. We just have to bring and bring it out of each other. Okay, so let's go a little bit further on. And this miraculous conduct, which is accomplished for all times at the leaving of Egypt, is even greater revealed in the month of Nissan, which in Nissan we were redeemed, and in Nissan we will be redeemed. It's a month of redemption. As is known that Nissan is an idiom for Nes. Nissan in Hebrew is Nes, which means miracle. And furthermore, Nissan is, as when you look at the word in Hebrew, Nissan, it has 2 nuns in it. So each nun is the beginning of the word of miracle. There's a nisim, miracles of miracles. And especially in the second half of the month, which begins Pesach, Passover holiday, especially then, which is on the 15th of Nisan, the time of redemption. And especially in the calendar year layout this year, what's the Rebbe, the Rebbe's going over here. You okay? The Rebbe is going over here, and there's one thing that we learned of Malchus. The Rebbe looks at the world, what's happening right then, and sees the wonders. So right now he's talking about why this is super special time where we're sitting here when the Rebbe is saying this, the 26th of Nisan. So he's explaining why. He says it's generally we're times of miracles. Then we're the month of miracles, and then we're after Pesach, which is the holiday of miracles, the time of our freedom. And especially in the calendar layout this year, the year that I will show them wonders. It says right on the flows, when the first day of Pesach was on the day of Shabbos, which in general is a time of freedom in comparison to the other days of the week. That we're being freed from every form of work. Shabbos we don't do, we're freed from work, and also from the work for the need of food, which is permitted on Yom Tov, and we have everything ready and prepared. All your work is done. So this is a very, very special time. The Rebbe says that not only this, that we see this year there was special kolchos, and he's just explaining in more in detail why. That the first day of Shabbos, that Pesach comes on Shabbos, but most certainly that since all the 7th and 8th day of the Passover holiday, as this is outside the holy land, where the majority of the main structure of the Jewish people are, which are in the time of redemption itself, the final days of the Passover holidays, are at a level of freedom in comparison to the first days. The Rebbe is just saying further that remember we're a few days after Pesach, and he's explaining what this is just happened, all these wonderful things, and now we're the last days of Pesach, which is many, that the first days is Pesach when we went out from Egypt, but it's as connected to the redemption of Egypt, and the final days. What's the final days? Mainly with the true and complete redemption, with no exile after it, the freedom even in comparison to the freedom of the redemption of Israel, wonders even in comparison to the wonders as the days you left Egypt. See, there was. Okay, so this is the Rebbe's. He's explaining what's happening. Rebbe's drawing a picture, explaining, taking us on a trip. He's our tour guide for Moshiach. He is Moshiach. So he's explaining this is today is so special and why. And he's like, you can say amazing stuff. Actually, we're in the middle of paragraph 2. hopefully I will get the books and stuff. I have to get this online and stuff. And from it is continued in the present days. So all these wonderful things after Pesach, at the end of the culmination of the month of Nissan, which also then we do not say Tachanun. The custom is to make it completely the whole month of Nissan holy, similar to the Yom Tov in a small way. Moreover, all follows the conclusion. So the Rebbe is saying here, it's continuing. He says that the continuation and the end of Nissan includes everything in it. And we see that the whole month of Nissan is very special because it's the only month in the year from the beginning we don't say Tachanun. It means it's holy. It's a special level. When there's a holy day, you don't say Tachanun. And therefore, and also the next thing he says that that this is a expression that everything goes after the conclusion. So in conclusion, it has everything from above in itself, something special. Okay. And especially that this is also the week of the Parshas Shmini, that this year, that year they read the Parshas Shmini 8 times because it was Pesach, so they didn't read the Parshas Shmini from the first Shabbos, and the second Shabbos was the end of Pesach. In Judaism we read a few times a week, and also on the Sabbath we read a certain portion from the 5 books of Moses, from the Chumash. And so if generally there's an order that goes according to the order of the 5 books of Moses, we do one parsha, some a few times 2, depending on the situation. But if it comes Shabbos that day, we read something special for that. It becomes a holiday, and that Shabbos we read that for that holiday. So it pushes off reading the next parsha. So what happened here
until Mincha.
Until
Mincha,
yeah, but you don't read the whole parsha. You continue reading, but you continue studying that Shemini, like when you're doing Chitas, you're studying it and it's read many more times. So it says in this situation, it was read 8 times. It was read by Mincha. It was read by Yom Sheni and Yom Chamishi. So that would be like 6 times. Exactly, I don't know how the numbering, but it was read 8 times. We read the parsha 8 times. It's sitting at the 7 times are just the one, just a small part of it. The first part, like, would be a mincha or shachris, but the whole parsha was read 8 times. He says. So the Rebbe is looking at this. So you have to understand. This is what I tell people. You have to learn how to look at the world. I have to work on. We all have to. This is the avoda. We have to look. The Rebbe is explaining how everything's special, and the Rebbe could sit any time, any place. Will tell you there how everything's beyond belief, and why and how it works. Okay. So in this situation, he says, and especially that this is also the week of the Parshas Shmini, and that this year we read the Parshas Shmini 8 times. And there's also there's a saying that says Shmini, Shmona, Shmina, that the year we read Shmini, which is 8, Shmona, the Parshas Shmini, we read 8 times, Shmona times. It will be a fat year, blessed in the physical sense and spiritual sense. And now, at the end of the month of Nisan, we are about to complete the 8th time of the reading of the Parshas Shmini, which Shmini denotes the miraculous concept of Hashem, which is above the 7-day cycle of the creation, the natural order, and the most certainly 8 times Shemini, that we have a year that is fat and filled with miracles and wonders in the matter of shum and fat, which permeates the whole thing. The Rebbe is just amazing what he's saying over here. He says here we have 8 times 8. We have 8. So generally we have 8 is a level of miracles. There's actually, tell another Rebbe story. I give out, I'm going to, Mitzvah Hashem, do a whole video on the Rebbe water. We give out water from Lubavitcher Rebbe. Give out coffee from Lubavitcher Rebbe, too. I make it very my chavrus over here just has some of the water to my coffee. I use it as much as I can. But, so at about 2012, I was here in Rehovot, and there was an Elio Gabbai, had like a small Chabad house. When I was there may be 10 to 15 guys. I'm very talkative and very out there talking, giving people Rebbe water, other miracles. So I go to his shul, and my Hebrew's not the best. It's not the worst, but it's definitely not the best. And he says, Tzvi's going to tell you a story, tell you about the Rebbe water. He just tells me, look. I said, okay. So a guy sitting across from me, named Yehuda Panir, at that time, I'm 73, he probably was my age at that time, in the mid-60s or so. He tells me, he says, I have a story from the Rebbe's mikveh. The Rebbe water comes from the Rebbe's mikveh. Not the women's mikveh, a whole story about it. So he says, I have a story I never told anybody. He says he worked for Al, so his wife, they used to go back and forth a lot. So one time she had to go to mikveh, and it happened that there's a women's mikveh in Shana, and it happened to be the Rebbe would go a few times a week. And it happened to be that day the Rebbe just went in, and she was the first one going in. And the mikveh lady told me, he says, you're so lucky. There's such a miracle in the water for having children. And many, many people are having children. It's an amazing miracle. So she started, she was like 46. She couldn't have any more kids. So she prayed for her brother and herself, and she had another kid. So I asked him, I said, how many kids do you have? He says, I have 7 according to nature, Al Pi Teva. My 8th is L'mayla Miteva, it's higher than nature. So this is another story about higher than nature. So after we to have more children is one of the most special things. We want to take a break here. We're down to number 3 in the Sikha. So sei gesund, everybody. Hopefully we'll start up some more. Bye. Ki Adonenu, V'rein V'einu Melech Mashiach Bed. You should all have mamish a blessed week, a blessed time, and we should talk about and do more good stuff and realize what the blessings Hashem gives us.